Hello. It's Belinda. It's Belinda Weaver. And today I'm going to be talking about calls to action, right? Some free copyrighted training for you. So there's this really common point of friction between us as customers and us as business owners. So I love getting emails from, let me just take these out. I love getting emails from my favorite brands. And even as a marketer, who knows what's going on, who knows how email marketing works and writes offers and understands getting all up in the funnels and stuff, I love getting great marketing that empowers me with information to make great choices. I love when my favorite brands deliver offers into my inbox at the perfect time. And as I said, I'm a marketer. I understand the mechanics of it all, but I still love it when that happens. I love being marketed to. But so often I hear from business owners that they don't want to be pushy. They don't want to be salesy. But salesy and pushy, they kind of really closely align these days. So I want to take a second to explore what it really means to be salesy, right? Because often what it means is business owners withdraw from the moment of actually asking for a sale, right? And they say, I don't want to be salesy. What they're really saying is, I don't want to be pushy. They don't want to be misaligned. They don't want to be sleazy. They don't want to offer something that's not wanted or not needed. But the question I have for you as a business owner is, are you making those kind of offers that are not wanted or not needed? Are you lacking in empathy for your audience? Are you not listening to them and being, maybe like the bro marketing and really, really pushing past any resistance with your offers? I mean, really? No, I don't think you are. I think many of us as business owners, we genuinely care about the people who are downloading our stuff and watching our things and getting our emails and being open to our offers. We genuinely care. And so that when we make an offer to someone, we've done it with them in mind. That's not sleazy and that's not salesy. Understanding is the key, but we have this kind of cognitive dissonance where we love hearing from our favorite brands, but we resist being a favorite brand to our customers. And understanding, as I said, understanding is the key to it all. When we understand our audience, we can align our offers so that they are things that they are wanted and needed, right? We can be a favorite brand for our customers. So what happens with this kind of big resistance helmet, coined a new phrase there, is that business owners pull back from the moment of actually asking for a sale or a download or any kind of action because they think what they're offering isn't wanted or needed. So the first thing I want you to do is push that to the side, because unless you are skeezy or sleazy and you don't care about your audience, then that's not you, right? So today I'm going to be talking about calls to action. If you are watching this live, I would love you to say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from. If you are watching the replay, let me know with hashtag replay so I can see how many of you are tuning in from that replay. And I want to talk about calls to action because a call to action is simply the direction you give your audience to do something. Now, if you don't give people a specific direction to do something, then your marketing is simply a promotional broadcast. A call to action is saying to someone, this is what you do now. And so with this idea that if you ask someone to take some kind of action, you are not being sleazy and you are not being salesy, you are simply presenting a logical next step for someone who is interested enough to have read your email, to have read your social post, to have read to the bottom of your sales page, to have opened something and be looking to take the next step. Now, the important thing about a call to action is you should never assume that people are going to know that they have to take a next step. So I'm going to get to this in my tips, but you have to assume that people are looking for direction, because someone might read your email, right? You have emailed someone talking about a thing that you're offering. You have told them what it does, who it's perfect for, the life-changing outcomes that it can achieve and has achieved for people. You have included testimonials and quotes, and you have put the price in. There is also a link to your website. So you're thinking, that's pretty clear, right? I've got all the information there. I've got the website link and the price. Like, it's pretty clear that I want them to click and then buy, right? No, it's not clear. Not without a call to action. A lot of people would just go, that's really interesting. Close. That's what we need to assume most people will do without a clear call to action. So I want to walk you through some core elements of a call to action so that next time you are writing an email or a social post or a landing page, or you're putting an offer together, you can kind of check in with yourself and go, am I asking someone to take the next step in a way that makes sense and feels safe and is really clear? Spoiler alert, that's the tips there. So with calls to action, they kind of come in two forms. There's your inline call to action, which is the call to action within some copy. And then there's a button. Sometimes there's just one. Sometimes there is both. So sometimes it's just a button, buy now, really clear. That's your call to action. But sometimes there's a little bit more of a lead in, a little bit more of a description before you actually ask someone to do something. So my first tip number one for your call to action is make it an action, right? What does someone need to do? Verbs, really, really important here. And as I said earlier, you want to make sure it cannot be misunderstood. What I do in my copywriting masterclass and confident copywriting group is when I'm doing editing and reviews, I put and this is a bit harsh, but I put my idiot customer hat on. And I'm saying, how are all the ways that I can get this wrong? How can I misunderstand what you're asking me to do? And it's often surprising because you think when you've written something, you're like, it's pretty clear, right? Nope. Someone with fresh eyes will read the same copy in different ways. So the first tip, make it an action and make it clear. And you also want to think about how commanding it is, right? You don't want to pussyfoot around with your call to action. Like, oh, if you'd like to grab a copy and have a read of the download and see what you think once you have a look inside. No. Download your 10 free tips and start taking action today, right? To put on your power pose, put on your big girl pants and make it really clear, right? We don't use the word bossy. We are giving clear and assertive instructions to people who are looking to take the next step. So tip number one, make it an action. Tip number two is give people a reason to take action, right? So how will they benefit? What will they get? What can they do with it? What will they save, right? What is the outcome that they can expect from taking action? You really want to specify that to remind them, even if you've spent the whole sales page making that clear, even if you mentioned it 4 times in your email, remind them in the call to action, at the point of action, remind them what they're going to get out of that action. And then tip number 3 for your call to action is to reduce the risk, because every action is a potential for things to go horribly wrong. Now, I'm a glass half full kind of person. A lot of you all might be glass half empty. That's cool. I'm not judging. But when you're writing a call to action, you need to have your glass half empty hat on, where you're like, what is someone going to be worried about? Now, Joanna Weeb described this really wonderfully, where she said, every call to action is an invitation to walk through a closed door. I've got a door right there, right? And so you're saying, just go on through. Now, I don't know what's on the other side of that door. It could be the thing that I really want. It could be a monster. It's not going to be a monster, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And my lizard brain instantly goes into overdrive. The amygdala is saying, it could be dangerous. You should not do that. You should stay right here. Click close, right? So when you're writing a call to action, think about how you can make it less scary. And sometimes that's a little bit of copy around the call to action. Imagine all the concerns that the reader might have. What concerns, you're asking? So you want me to put my email in that little box down there? What if you spam me? What if you sell it? What if I end up getting lots of emails from lots of people? What if I just end up getting lots of emails from you? What if I change my mind and I never get off the list, right? What if I'm getting an email from you all the time, right? What if you're asking me to take a free trial? Do you need my credit card? What are you going to do with my credit card details? Are you storing them safely? Are you going to automatically charge me, or do I get an option, right? This is the constant stream of questions that your reader is even subconsciously or consciously thinking about when you present that call to action. So what you can do is put a little line that says, no credit card details required, or your email is safe with me, no spam. I adhere to GDPR, protocols, whatever. So your third tip is to reduce the risk. And what you need to do is, how can I make this safer, or at least feel safer? Because hopefully it already is a safe choice. So the 3 tips that I've given you so far when it comes to calls to action in your copy, and remember, a call to action is the clear and direct instruction for what someone needs to do next. Tip number 1, make it an action. Make it clear, make it commanding. Tip number 2, give people a reason to take the next step with you. Tip number 3, reduce the risk of taking that action with you. And you can use micro copy for that. So as an example, right, your call to action might be to download a thing. So I've got an example in front of me so I can read it. This is my new ebook for business owners. Grab the Smart Business Owner's Guide to Copywriting. So that's the action plus the what it is. Grab the guide. To learn a copywriting framework that will cut your writing time in half. Reminding of the benefit, simply enter your email address and get instant access. Risk reduction, micro copy, no spam from me, not ever, right? And then the button, this is where we're really at the pointy end of the call to action, download the ebook. That is really clear. So you can see I've got some copy around the button that explains what it is, how they benefit, that it's a safe choice, and then there's a button saying do this thing, right? That's how a call to action can come together. Now, I've got a call to action checklist for you. So when you're writing a piece of copy for an email, for a social post, for a landing page, for an opted page, for anything, right? Ask yourself, what does the reader need to do now? And make sure that's clear. What do they get when they take that action? What happens, right? Give them an awesome reason to say yes. How can you reduce the risk of saying yes and make it less scary? Maybe it's some social proof. Maybe it's instructions on what happens next so people know what is on the other side of the door, right? Maybe it's an offer. And then the other part of the checklist is your call to action visible? Sometimes when we don't want to be salesy, we kind of put the call to action on the side down there. And, they'll see it if they really want to. No, you make that button big. You make it noticeable. You put the text in bold. You have white space around it. You make that visible and you make it obvious, and you make sure that there is only one thing that people can see that they have to do. They're amazed by you. They love what you do. You know what they need, and you are presenting them the next logical step to take with you. So tell them what it is, remind them of what they'll get, make it seem safe, and make sure they can see it. So they are my tips on calls to action. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Hi, Gina Lurie. That's my friend Gina. It's great to see you. And I'm just going to check in. So this is a space, even if you're watching the replay and you have questions, drop them in the comments and I'll be sure to answer them. But this is something everyone should be thinking about if they're writing their own copy. It's not scary to ask for a sale. It's not being pushy. It's not being sleazy. You are helping your audience take the next step with you, and you're not a jerk. So your calls to action reflect that. Okay? All right, I hope you've enjoyed this free training. As I said, these are kind of free trainings that I do in my Facebook group, For the Love of Copy, at least once a month. And I will be putting them up. The videos, the replays also live on YouTube. Now, if you liked the idea of that, that Smart Business Owner's Guide that I said, I'm going to drop a link here. Let's just see if I can drop it in all the places. This might be a little bit ambitious. I'm going to pop it down here. This is the Smart Owner's Business Guide, and it does go through my go-to copywriting framework that literally cuts my writing time in half. Guide to Copywriting. When you have a framework like this, just like these call to action tips, it takes the stress out of the copy that you write. All right, I've dropped that. We'll see where it ends up. I'll put it in all the replay buttons as well. Barbara says, thank you. This was really helpful. Absolutely my pleasure. Now, we're coming into the crazy season. There's going to be lots of Christmas offers, lots of Christmas emails, lots of connecting, right? Just remember, I'm going to say it one more time. You're not salesy. You're not skeezy. Asking for a sale is not a problem. It's helping people take the next logical step with you. But unless you tell them what the step is, then they're not going to do it. So I'm empowering you with how to write a high converting call to action. You can absolutely do this. All right. Stay awesome, everyone.